at 2 minutes, 3 seconds of round number 10, the winner, and once again, heavyweight champion of the world, Big George Foreman.
October 5th, 1994. A 45-year-old man stands in a Las Vegas ring, down on the scorecards, blood trickling from his mouth. He's too slow, too old, too far removed from his prime. But then, boom.
It happened! It happened!
How did George Foreman defy logic, time, and a decade of exile to become the oldest heavyweight champion ever? And how did Michael Moorer, an undefeated heavyweight champion, ignore repeated warnings that would cost him everything? Before he became a worldwide celebrity with a megawatt smile, George Foreman was something else entirely. Raised in the streets of Houston's Fifth Ward, he was the toughest kid in a neighborhood, full of the rough and tough. As a young man, Foreman found his way to boxing and soon recognized he could be special. By 1968, he was an Olympic gold medalist. By 1973, he was heavyweight champion of the world, having demolished Joe Frazier with a violence rarely seen in the sport.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
He tore through the heavyweight division like a wrecking ball, an unstoppable force, until his matchup with the legendary Muhammad Ali in Zaire, Africa. Foreman would lose by knockout to Ali in a shocking upset. And after one more stunning defeat to Jimmy Young, he disappeared. He would not return to the ring for 10 long years. While Foreman was ending a decade in exile, Michael Moorer was establishing himself as a standout amateur at the legendary Kronk Gym in Detroit. Before long, he'd be known as one of the scariest fighters in boxing. A southpaw with an unrelenting mean streak, Moorer cut through the light heavyweight division like a hot knife through butter, claiming a world title in just his 12th fight.
Mike Moorer was definitely one of the greatest light heavyweights I've had in the history of boxing.
Terrifying, undefeated, and seemingly untouchable at light heavyweight division, Moorer, in search of challenges and tired of starving himself to make the 175-pound light heavyweight limit, moved up to heavyweight and kept winning big. But it wasn't just his power or elite southpaw jab that made his greatness. It was his presence. Moorer had an edge, a darkness.
He was worse than reclusive. He was almost antagonistic to the point where you almost felt, not knowing any better, that it might be dangerous to be with him.
On April 22nd, 1994, Michael Moorer stepped into the ring with Evander Holyfield, with Holyfield's heavyweight title belt at stake. Most expected the young southpaw to struggle, and Evander scored a second-round knockdown.
Oh, and Holyfield catches him with a left hook, and Moorer goes down.
But Moorer regroups and controls large stretches of the fight, using his crisp jab, sharp counters, and the advice of trainer Teddy Atlas, who practically wills Moorer to victory.
You go in there, and you start backing this guy up, and you start doing what we trained to do. Otherwise, don't come back to this fucking corner. Do you hear me?
Where's the fire? Where's the passion? Where's the desperate need to win the title?
Comes a time in a man's life, but he makes a decision to just live, survive, or he wants to win. You're doing just enough to keep him off you and hope he leaves you alone.
Moorer eventually puts his corner's guidance into play and begins to take control. He stays one step ahead of Holyfield the rest of the bout to take a majority decision and become the first southpaw heavyweight champion. When Foreman announced his comeback in 1987, Michael Moorer was still a year away from turning professional. Big George was bigger than ever, overweight, slow, and pushing 40. But every knockout win translated into more believers. And in 1991, he shocked the world and thrilled his growing fan base in his own showdown with Holyfield. While he lost the fight on the judges' scorecards, his spirited effort in a close fight earned something even greater than a win: respect. Still, few believed he could actually win a title.
A few days after Michael Moorer beat Evander Holyfield, I got a call from George. And I said, George, you can't kid me. You want to fight Michael Moorer. And he said, more than anything else in the world, get me that fight.
I just want to go out there, show the world that 45 and 55 is not a death sentence. We can do anything we want to do.
Live from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, HBO Sports presents World Championship Boxing as Michael Moorer, WBA and IBF heavyweight champion, defends his title against the one and only George Foreman.
November 5th, 1994. Foreman, in his trademark red trunks from the Ali fight, is absorbing a beating.
He's a 45-year-old man in a young man's game.
George has sweatshirts older than Moorer.
Moorer is too fast, too precise. As the rounds go by, Moorer is building up what appears to be an insurmountable lead on the scorecards. But to the expert eye, there's something else happening. Between rounds, Teddy Atlas is pleading with his fighter.
Don't stay there because he's looking to set you up one shot, and then he'll open up a combination if he hits you.
But Moorer doesn't listen. He keeps looking for offense, and Foreman keeps measuring him for that big right hand.
I have a sense here, Gil, that Moorer feels as though he has felt Foreman's power and it's not going to hurt him. That could be a big mistake.
Then, in the 10th round, the old man finds his moment. A jab to blind him. Then the right hand. Perfect, brutal, final.
It happened! It happened!
And my intentions were to extend him and make certain that when I hit him with one shot, he would not get up. Michael Moorer was falling into a trap.
You can see Foreman loading up with that right hand. I'm surprised that Moorer couldn't see it.
The first punch I hit him with was the straight right. It was just a little too high. I expected him to fall, it didn't. And I said right then I was going to lower it just a little bit.
Is that goes on a right hand? An unbelievably close-in right hand shot.
I had told George for months, George, how are you going to find him? You haven't fought in a long time. He moves in there. He goes at a different angle. He's a southpaw. He wouldn't stand still for Holyfield. Why would he stand still for you? And George said, you watch, somewhere late in the fight, he's going to come stand in front of me. Wow.
The win made George Foreman a global sensation. He held the title for only a short time, but the victory secured his legend. He became a household name, not just for boxing, but for the George Foreman Grill, for his charisma, for his infectious joy. He went from being one of the most feared men in boxing to one of the most beloved figures in American culture until his recent passing at 76. And what about Michael Moorer? He would fight on, but he was never the same. He would regain a title, but never the aura.